The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Welcome to Planting Seeds, Philanthropy in Saskatchewan, a show where we aim to connect you to the donors and charities making an impact across the prairies. I'm your host, Victor Roman Morrow, with the South Sask Community Foundation. I hope you enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us today. I'm lucky to be joined by two very wonderful guests on behalf of the North Central Family Center. So first I've got Kim Wenger, who's the Executive Director of the Center, and you'll hear a bit later on as well from Doug McNair, who's a volunteer with the Center and the chair of their Hopes and Dreams campaign. So first off, welcome to the show, both of you. Before I kind of pass it off, I just wanted to give a little bit of an oversight. So, we want to make sure that you understand as a viewer a bit about the North Central Family Center, and then we have a really exciting partnership with the South Saskatchewan Community Foundation has the partnership with the center around this Hopes and Dreams campaign. So we really want to let you know this exciting future of the organization. But first, maybe Kim, would you want to give us a bit of a background about yourself and what the center actually is?
Yeah, happy to do so. Thank you for having us, Victor. It's always a great opportunity to come and speak about the center and let people know what we do. So as you mentioned, I'm the Executive Director of North Central Family Center. Been there for just over 2 years now. And the center, it's located at 2931 Fifth Avenue, so in North Central Regina. And really, I find it to be a very magical place. I know that's a little corny, but it does. Like if you are there, you understand, you have to feel it and be there to feel it. But we offer programs, services, and activities to children, youth, elders, and families in North Central, and have for 21 years. And what I'd say the center is really an extension of folks' homes, and people do call it their second home, or it is a place where a lot of folks really feel supported and loved and cared for and connected to each other. And I think that's one of the most important things we do. But to be more literal, we operate Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. Actually, on Friday, we're open till 10 o'clock. And so during the day, we do serve more of the older youth, elders, and families and the community with an array of programs. So we have a housing team that supports over 250 families a year, and also house quite a bit of folks. And what they do is very diverse and really just meeting people where they're at with whatever it is that they need. We have a cookum who runs our outreach kind of front door area, and so she stewards a ton of donations that we get from the community, and that's clothing, household items, just an array of items, and food as well. And so we've got folks that can come and rely on us for that during the day. And then we also do youth employment during the day. So the older youth, we invite in for some 10-week training program, and we support them to really create a vision for their future. And some folks haven't had the ability to do that. It's just to sit back and think, what do I want to do, and explore the sectors and what's possible. And so that's, I think, the most great thing about that program. And then the last 5 weeks, they get to do a work placement as well, and that's all paid. And then at 3:30, we shut down to everyone else, and we dedicate to children and youth. And so we do an after school and evening program for ages 6 to 17. And so, doors fly open. We offer a healthy snack. We do our, secret handshakes and high fives, and really just hear about their day. A lot of kids just want to relax and talk to you about their day. And but we have crafts and arts and activities that they can do, games, whatever it is that our youth staff have planned up for them. And then we offer supper to everyone as well. And then we take the little ones, ages 6 to 9, home after supper. We drive them home safely. And then the older ones are invited to stay for evening program. And so we can do an array of activities, field trips, you name it, we do it. So it really is an all-encompassing kind of intergenerational feel in the center. So.
Yeah, that sounds like a great resource for that whole community, just to be able to access it any time. And I know I guess late 2023, I visited, we had a bit of a meeting that I visited, and I got to hear some stories from some of the staff. And what became really apparent to me right away is that, a lot of the staff there really are an extension of the families of the kids and the individuals that are coming through your doors. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, do you have any examples of maybe some stories of, how kids have been impacted, or how people have really gone above and beyond to make sure kids are taken care of, staying safe, staying out of trouble?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny. It is. We actually get called aunties and uncles a lot. I'm hoping I don't get called Cookham anytime soon, because that's a little ways for me yet. But absolutely, yeah. Our staff do, we're community based. We have a lot of folks working for us that are from the community, that have come through our programs. Thinking of our 2 youth employment coordinators, they were both children that came to the center and are now working there, giving back and supporting other folks that come in. And I'd say the success rate that they have in that program, which is 86% of the youth that have come through the program in the last 4 years are in school, are employed, and are doing well. And I test that to the relationship that our employment coordinators can create with them, right? That trusting relationship. Yeah, there's lots of stories, and small to large, right? The impact of being able to send kids home with some milk for the household is huge, and these kids are feeling super proud being able to do that, right? And so those are just huge impacts. And then the stories of just being able to support the kids and the pride that they feel, our back to school program, for example. So we're able to, with the help of the community, do a little event called Back to School. And I think last year we had over 1,000 folks come out and gave over 500 backpacks away. But we had some extra donations from that, and we were able to buy shoes for the kids. So we actually took them shopping, and they were able to pick out their shoes. And, some of the feedback from the families was that would be a barrier for our kids to actually go to school. And so the ripple effects in the stories are beyond what I could even recall, or what we can even document.
I think that's a good overview of what the center does. And I maybe want to shift a little bit to talk about some of these plans for the future that are happening right now, and the implications of that. And this Hopes and Dreams campaign. And before we get into too much, the Community Foundation, is very lucky to be able to partner with you guys for this, and for you to choose to partner with us to try to help kind of bring this to life. We're working as a bit of that financial anchor of where donations go, how the funds are going to be managed. And we're hoping that we're able to work together and just make this campaign a success. But with that said, can you let people know, what is the Hopes and Dreams campaign, and what's coming for North Central Family Center? Yeah.
I might start it off by just saying, we are a local grassroots organization, and so we're not affiliated with any provincial or national body and who can help rally funds and whatnot. And so Hopes and Dream is really about a sustainable future for the center, and doing that in a few different ways. And Doug is a great champion of the center and is helping with the Hopes and Dreams campaign, and also tells it very eloquently, because he started before I did. And when our founder Sandy was retiring, she was worried, and maybe I'll turn it over to you to kind of talk about your story in that. And
Yeah, my story actually with North Central Family Center began 15 years ago as a volunteer, and I must say, I'm just one of a great many volunteers, and many have done so much more than I have. But I became aware of I've had a management consulting firm in the city for many years, and we were looking for a group that we could provide support to, and it was suggested that we should find a grassroots community organization, because even if you help them a bit, it can make a big impact. And that's how I got started with North Central Family Center. You kind of get drawn into it because when you spend time at the center, you see the impact that the center is having, and you can see the connection between the staff and the center and the neighborhood and the kids and the families. And it really does draw you in. It took a grassroots kind of heartfelt effort by the founder, Sandy Wankel, to keep it going for 20 years. And I was talking to her, I remember in December of 2019 about Christmas, and she said she was worried. And I asked her why, and she said, I'm worried about the kids and the families when I retire. And I said, you need a plan. And so we've got together with some volunteers just about looking at sustainability for North Central Family Center. So it's around for 20 years or more. And that led us to the notion of a social enterprise, more of a business-like kind of, following some good business practices, but still remaining an organization that's focused on the kids and families. And that led to us being very fortunate in receiving over $7 million in grants, actually over $8 million in grants to build a residence for 30 units of affordable housing, but also to a community hub on the main floor, which can be a communal kitchen and neighborhood laundromat, multi-purpose space for the community, food distribution, offices. And on top of that, look then at repurposing the existing facility some upgrades and to repurpose into just focusing on kids and families. So that's a long-winded. I think that might have been one sentence, but anyway. So that leads us to the Hopes and Dreams campaign, which is and thank goodness we found you folks as true partners as well. It's ambitious for us, but we have North Central has this vision of being around for a long time. Having the facilities it needs to make more of an impact to deliver additional programming in the North Central area. And the campaign, we're looking to raise $4 million to finish off the suites, to finish off the community hub, and also to repurpose the existing center.
No, that's great. I want to hit on one thing before we go even further into this campaign, because I think there's so many good details that I really want to dive into, but just from a personal note, because you mentioned you've been a volunteer there for what was about 15 years. And just yesterday, we had a very brief conversation there in our office, and you kind of mentioned how even though you've never lived in this area, you really, like, it's become your neighborhood, or you feel like they're neighbors. Can you maybe elaborate on a little bit about that feeling of community that you've seen in the North Central area?
For sure. I think North Central Family Center has changed me. I've learned a lot about some of my neighbors, maybe not the ones that are just down the street, but are in a different neighborhood in North Central, that they perhaps haven't been seen the same fortune. Or been as fortunate, I guess, as some of the rest of us, and I feel quite a connection because I think that it is very much a part of our greater community, and I like what Kim talks about the opportunity to not provide a handout, but to provide a hand up, and I think part of the Hopes and Dreams campaign goal is just to create more awareness in the broader community in Regina about families that have their own hopes and dreams, but there's things that are preventing them, basic needs perhaps, or just a safe place for a child so that they can get a good meal, so they can stay in school, so they can have their own hopes and dreams. So I think the people who live in North Central, they're our neighbors too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, I think, what really connected with me when you were talking yesterday. And I'm pretty lucky to be one of the people, like I go through the neighborhood every day. My child goes to a daycare center kind of nearby that I'm involved in, and just a kind of interesting, like, personal story to kind of hit on that note is, I think in the Regina community, people that aren't familiar with North Central tend to avoid it. And I find that to be a bit of a shame as somebody that actually does, much like you, get to visit every once in a while, because there are like so many beautiful people and beautiful things there. And it's just a matter of creating that infrastructure and those needs that really make sure that people can thrive regardless of, the economic situation or social situation you're in. And I remember I used to take my kid by bus to daycare. And there was more than one time that somebody, when they talk to me when I'm downtown getting on the bus, and they ask where you're going, and they're like, "You can't take your kid there." I'm like, "Well, why not?" It's like people, it's like literally when I'm walking him to daycare, it's like people are just saying hello, people are smiling. People want the best in their lives, regardless of what neighborhood you live in, right? And I think that really resonates true within the North Central area. And I think organizations like yours really make sure that people have that path to thrive going forward. And that's where this Hopes and Dreams campaign becomes really exciting to me. As you mentioned, this community hub in this 30 unit complex for people to live in. It gives people an opportunity to hit a lot of the essentials that are needed right now in our community. And not to divert too much, but another thing that really resonated, I know, with us at the foundation is we do, and I bring this up every episode so viewers might get sick of it, but our vital signs research and our Growing Futures report, the research of what community is telling us and what data is telling us is that the basics needed, like safe and affordable housing, a place for food security and to be able to afford food, the mental health and well-being of people to avoid things like suicide or to recover from substance use, as well as the community dealing with aging infrastructure are all huge aspects. Those are the 4 focus areas. And when we look at what you do, it hits all of those. And the needs of this new project is really creating that new infrastructure that really is the foundation to be able to help with all those other pieces. So it's neat, I think, from the foundation's perspective, and I hope the community's perspective, to see how like this project is important because it's hitting all of the most important aspects that our community needs right now. And I want to maybe ask a bit more about the community hub aspect. So what does that community hub look like? What's kind of expected to be there? What are the types of services that people can potentially get?
Yeah, I mean, it's also like it's an amenity, obviously, to the residents, a place where they can gather, come together, take part in programs and supports each other. But really, we want to activate the community hub as a community hub and bring together service providers. And we don't want to do everything. We don't think that's us. Like our ability to have folks live with us and have that connection piece is huge. But to also continue doing just on a larger scale what we already do, which is partnering and collaborating with folks to provide those services that are being asked for and needed. And a lot of times, the supports that are being asked for right now is connection to culture, right? So maybe it's cultural drop-in programming that we're able to provide. The donations, the need for just items for folks. So maybe it's just like pop-up, markets where we can support folks and families on a regular basis. The community kitchen, I mean, we recover a ton of food already through different retailers. And so we can expand on what we're doing there and maybe partner with, Sask Health Authority does a lot of good programming, Reach, Regina Food Bank. There's folks already out there. So let's, activate these spaces and, cook in bulk and create meals for folks and, also divert food waste, which is a huge win-win. The laundromat, again, like that is laundry and clean laundry is huge. We do laundry for folks already at our center and we only have, one of them. So it becomes difficult, but it's a place to socialize. It's a place to be together and to support each other. And I think that laundromat it's going to be more than laundry, right? Like it's going to just be activated. And then celebrations. We also do events in the community a few times a year because we like to bring people together and feel like that family. And when you talk about North Central community, it really is. It feels like a small town. And I live in North Central, and like I'm not fearful to. We go and do walks with other agencies like Eagle Heart and, I don't feel scared. Like I think there's a huge stigma that people are dangerous. And, while there's high rates of crime and stuff like that, I get that. But like, there's a reason behind some of that crime too, right? Like, unfortunately. And when we can help get, like, people are just so grateful and supportive and nice. So, and the community hub is going to be 3 blocks from our existing center. So to kind of correlate programming between the 2 spaces and activate it through genuine collaborative action and partnerships, I think it's going to be just super fun.
That's great.
We're excited. Yeah.
And then as well, you mentioned the housing complex. What does that look like? How, I guess, I don't know if you have the details, like, how are people going to access it? But
Yeah, I have
kind of
some,
what
for sure.
what do you have up to
Yeah.
this point?
Yeah, so it'll be 30 units. It'll be intergenerational. So the entire, the top floor is 12 studio units, and that's going to be dedicated to youth and young people. Like through our employment program, one of the biggest barriers that people are facing is a safe place to go after the program or while they're going through the program. And so we think that, having space for these youth and young people to kind of get their footing beneath them, right? Like I know a lot of people would understand that transition from, being in school and supported that way to like, hey, you're an adult now, you're out in the world. And so we want to support youth and young people on that floor. And then we have 1-bedroom units. I think it's about 7 of them. And that we're going to target seniors, elders, and people with disabilities because we have 3 fully accessible ones as well. And then 2- and 3-bedroom units will be for families. And so it'll be very intergenerational. It's low income, so it will be deeply affordable. That way you can stay as long as you're low income, right? Yeah. So we're hoping at some point there's a bridge, like people are getting what they need. All basic needs are going to be met, right? Like people won't have to worry about food or hygiene products or any of that kind of stuff. And so if you can imagine taking that away and getting somebody out of that ability, like that survival mode, to then focus on, whatever it is, like trauma or, setting a vision or goals or, mental health. So we'll look at a plan for like, the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional for each person. So it'll be casework, right? And we'll have a caseworker available on site to work with folks. And so, it's I think that a lot of folks are really going to enjoy that model of living. And I think it's something that can be reproduced over and over again, and potentially even just like permanent for folks, right? I mean, that's like cooperative living.
It's a very innovative approach, which and collaborative too. When you mentioned just how you're bringing the space together, and it's really nice to see that sort of approach coming, and it's something new, something fresh, something really impactful in ways that we don't currently have, which is great. Now, one of the big, I think, pieces of this is, this building doesn't magically appear. So, and I know that this Hopes and Dreams campaign has goals.
It almost has.
I mean, it almost has.
They're working on the 5th floor, so pretty quick.
But there's, as anything like this, there's needs, there's financial needs, there's other needs. What does the center need in order to complete this project and also make it sustainable?
Certainly the resources to get this project to the finish line, like we've moved very rapid. It was a very rapid project. This was only kind of a conversation, just over a year ago. And so to be at this point where we're, 5 floors up, we're changing the skyline of North Central, we're a high rise, lots of people are getting excited. They'll sit on the sidewalk and watch this be built, right? And so we want to make sure it's available. Our target date is to be completed at the end of October. Okay. And so I know typically a lot of folks, capital campaigns are years and years, and we have to be innovative and rapidly raise some funds so that we can finish off that. We really wanted that vision of the community hub, right? And through the rapid housing grants, they're focused on the suites, right? And so we kind of took a leap of faith and said, hey, we want to make sure this hub is there. And so we believe our community will help us get there. And so that's a bit of that part of the story. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I think going back to this, social enterprise kind of model, we've upped our game in terms of our governance and financial management and financial reporting, and now there's annual business planning and strategic planning, and all these things kind of position us to take on a project like this. And we're so grateful to receive the funds. And of course, there's always, with any grants of funds, there's conditions and certain limits or whatever in terms of how the funds can be spent. So they're largely focused on the suites. There's some additional kind of amenities we'd like to add to the suites, like air conditioning, right? Or some, and of course the community hub, where we have this 6,000 square feet of space. None of the grants will cover the costs of fixturing and the equipment and that type of thing. On the other hand, what an opportunity, right? Yeah. So it was, as Kim said, a real leap of faith. This is under the Rapid Housing Initiative as well, with government, and of course we were obligated to build quickly. And as was alluded to by Kim, it means we're obligated, I guess, or we have some confidence and faith, I guess, in the community that we can also raise funds in a steady fashion anyway. To have that full service, support services and neighborhood services or whatever that is envisioned to go along with the suites.
For sure. And just to wind things down here, we've got a couple more minutes left, and maybe this is a good opportunity. What do you need? How can people get involved? How can they not only become donors, but also just become, ingrained in this process?
Yeah, well, we have a campaign committee. Mm-hmm. Kim and I are almost full time at it right now, I guess. And for those the businesses or individuals that would like to talk to us or speak to us to find out more information and potentially look at a sponsorship or a partnership or a major donation, by contacting the center, that would be a good first step, and we'd be more than happy to sit down and meet with them. Also, we have 19 people on a committee that are engaging with people in the community about basically, I think it's the story of North Central, the vision for North Central Family Center and the community. And once that story is told, there can be subsequent discussions if there's interest or whatever in terms of donating to the vision. Mm-hmm. We also will be launching shortly as well, a website and also have some media. And our van is going to have a QR code on it, so we want to make it really easy for people to consider. Mm-hmm. First to reach out and understand the story, and then consider making a donation through one of those avenues.
Oh, perfect. And if I'm not wrong, it's ncfc.ca, is that right? Yes. So that's where people can go, right now to learn more information or potentially donate as well. And I just wanted to thank you both, I guess, for coming on today and, giving people more of a view into this. And I really hope that this message resonates strongly with our viewers. And I just want to thank you again for coming on.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So again, that's ncfc.ca if you want to learn more about the Hopes and Dreams campaign and hopefully give back to this community and help our foundation, help North Central Family Center through this partnership.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in today. If you'd like to learn more about how you can make an impact in your own community, visit us online at sscf.ca or search South Sask Community Foundation on social media platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today